Hello, and welcome to Shedding the Bitch Radio, where you can discuss, debate, and get advice on how to discover and shed the bitches of fear, insecurity, self-doubt, and negative mindsets so you can realize your dreams and life purpose and create and accelerate the riches you want in life. Join us here live every Tuesday at noon Eastern and dialogue with us at 818-572-2910. You can also chat with us at Blog Talk Radio /Shedding the Bitch, or share your stories on our website at sheddingthebitch.com. Whatever the bitch is that's holding you back from living your life to the fullest, it's not worth giving up the riches in life that you deserve. So call in now and let Bernadette Boas know what's holding you back. 818-572-2910.
Anyway, this is Bernadette Boas. You're listening to Shedding the Bitch Radio. And of course, the one day I have a whole crew of video people in my studio, we have some technical issues, but we are back and we're going to have a great show all about personal branding. So before we get into that, I want to just make a couple of quick announcements for you, and then we'll dive right in with our wonderful guest, an attractionpreneur, and she's going to talk all about that. But first off, a couple of announcements. First, a shout out to our social media team. We have Deborah Parker that's online watching for all of your engagements and your tweets. And if you have any questions and you go to Shedding the Bitch Facebook page, you can certainly interact with us, and Deborah will be keeping an eye out for that, and she'll be tweeting throughout the show. So, and then also Michelle Jacobs is our social media person throughout the week, and we'll be introducing you to her as we go forward as well. So we are ensuring that you are able to collaborate, engage, and share with us through the Shedding the Bitch community. But go to sheddingthebitch.com and go to our Facebook page of Shedding the Bitch and make sure you're getting your questions and stories and challenges answered. Now, you can also call in 1-818-572-2910 if you want to speak with me or our fabulous guest today. But be sure to also get your questions answered, okay? I want to also just kind of make a comment. If you haven't seen or didn't see this morning on CBS Early Morning News, Patricia Arquette, the actress who won the Oscar, who made a kind of a women's statement off of the platform when she picked up her Oscar. She was back on CBS this morning and talking about what women need to do in order to ensure that they are getting equal pay, getting equal rights, getting equal opportunities out there. And she definitely turned the onus back on all of us, which is appropriate. We all need to do our work, and we need to take the steps ourselves, and we need to raise up our voices individually and as a group and a community if we want change. So take a look at that CBS This Morning's podcast. You can find the clip online. I'm even going to post it to sheddingthebitch.com, because I just think we need to continue raising our voices, whether it's Patricia or myself or any of you. All right, in writing and or if you want to do your own video and or your tweets, whatever the case might be. Let's keep the conversation going when it comes to how can we position women equally in the community. All right. I also want to thank all the people, and this is atonement to Brenda and to Deborah and to Michelle in regards to our social media efforts these days. Tons of retweets, tons of engagements, tons of shares. Thank you so much for all of that, to everybody out in our Shedding the Bitch community for all the engagement that you've been doing with the Shedding the Bitch community. It is appreciated. Follow us. It doesn't matter where. You can pull down our Bolifier Leadership publication right out on Paperly, paperli.com, and find Bolifier Leadership Pub there. And of course, in the Shedding the Bitch community. All right, we want to hear from you. We want to hear from you, and we have some great guests lined up over the coming weeks. Remember, March is all about personal branding, personal style, helping you define who you are and then living that authentically out in the world, whether it's at work, at home, in the community. All right, so our guests in the coming weeks, before we dive into today's guests, are going to be Jennifer Lund. We have Lee Hayward showing up, and then Meredith Lapelt will also be in studio, all about whether it's personal style, whether it is helping you really live the brand you are, or as far as today's conversation, we're talking about how do you live authentically so you attract to yourself all the things that you want out of life. All right. So that's all of our announcements. But today's question that I want to make sure you're thinking about throughout the program. And again, if you want to talk to Terry directly when we get into our conversation, 1-818-572-2910. But the question is this: do you attract or do you repel the things you want in your life? That might sound a little bit off, but I want you to be honest about it. Remember, I was repelling for years because of the ugliness that I lived in. So if you have any sort of bitch, any insecurity, fear, doubt, negativity that you're hanging on to, trust me when I say it's not helping you achieve what it is that you want. So I want you to be honest with yourself as we take a break, and then we're going to come back and introduce Terry and get into this conversation, okay? I want you to think and answer for yourself honestly. Do you attract or do you repel all the dreams and all the abundance and all the riches in life that you want? We'll be right back.
You are listening to Shedding the Bitch Radio with Bernadette Boas. Be sure to check out her book, Shedding the Corporate Bitch, Shifting from Bitch to Rich in Life and Business. Available on Amazon or sheddingthebitch.com. We also want to thank our sponsor, tsrtax.com, who offers a broad range of tax services for small to corporate size clients. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, everyone. You're listening to Shedding the Bitch Radio, and this is Bernadette Boas indeed. And we have a great guest. She's an attractionpreneur. Have you ever heard of it? If not, stay tuned because she's going to bring us up to speed as to exactly what that is and how that can benefit you in all the goals and the dreams that you have for yourself. So Terry, how are you?
I'm great, Bernadette. Thank you for having me on the show. It's very exciting.
Oh, you are very welcome. I'm excited to have you. So I'm going to formally introduce you before we then break loose into our curly hair, crazy conversation. All right? Just to make sure everybody knows who Terry Waldman is and the Attractionpreneur. She's an international speaker and trainer, certified success coach, and 3-time international best-selling author. So you definitely want to go to terrywildman.com. You can go to awakenpossibilities.com and learn all about her books and her experiences. She shares her wisdom with messengers, intuitive leaders, and conscious professionals to awaken the possibilities in their personal lives, careers, and businesses to create positive results and enhanced wealth and health. Who doesn't want that? I don't know about you, but I do. From the C-suite to the frontline personnel, Terry swiftly guides her audiences and clients in the discovery of untapped creative solutions and strategies in the areas of intuitive leadership, communications, decision-making, stress management, and law of attraction strategies. Keep that in mind because we're going to be talking about law of attraction throughout the program. She improves relationships. She helps to improve your performance at work. She helps to improve businesses' customer service. And she also just overall helps individuals and businesses to really prosper in what it is that they want to be doing in their lives. Terry's career spans 30 years of entrepreneurship, so she's been there, done that. And her experience includes owning a leadership and wellness center, a manufacturing company, and a law enforcement career. I don't know that we've ever talked about that, Terry. but that's it. As a career transition trainer and image consultant, she trained over 11,000 military personnel. I could go on and on, but I'd rather get Terry in here and she can share with you everything about her background and all about Attractionpreneur. So welcome, Terry.
Thank you.
So let me ask you you're welcome. Well, you're welcome. So let me ask you right off the bat, explain to everybody Attractionpreneur and how you kind of came about that. Because it is a great brand, speaking about branding.
Thank you so much. Well, I'm passionate about law of attraction. And I'm passionate about law of attraction because I have studied it for so many years for various reasons that we'll get into later on in the show. I also am an entrepreneur. Freedom is my number one value, and the best way for me to attain freedom is to do work that I love as an entrepreneur. So So I've been an entrepreneur since the age of 18, and it's just something that helps me breathe. I just absolutely love it. So being able to merge the law of attraction and entrepreneurship was very important to me. And one day I was sitting at my computer, and all of a sudden it came up. Something, I was journaling, doing my journaling thing, and I said, I'm an attractionpreneur, and I went, ding!
There you
I sure am.
There you go. And it is great branding because it immediately tells somebody what it is that you do. And that's everything about a brand supposed to be, is in a simple word like my ball of fire. Since we're talking about branding today, is it just immediately says she has to have something to do with law of attraction, or at least her philosophies, her theories, her concepts, her tools, and the things that she works on with individuals and companies is all around that attraction, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Nice. All right. So what are some, to get everybody grounded that's listening, and again, we're talking about making sure that everyone's in alignment with who they are, and they understand who they are, and if they don't, they at least are seeking that out. But then again, they need to understand that everything about how they go out in the world, like the question at the very beginning, is either going to attract or repel. So can you bring people up to speed if they're not real familiar with the law of attraction, if they're not familiar with what it is you do, can you kind of give us a clue about it?
Absolutely, I would love to. Law of attraction has been around forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. I mean, it's even in the Bible. Ask and it shall be given. Ask and you shall receive. So it is a very common premise in religion. It's a common premise in spirituality. It is with us 24/7. Law of attraction does not have a brain. Law of attraction does what we tell it to do. What do I mean by that? Well, if anybody's watched the movie The Secret, they know that law of attraction, there was a big movie several years ago
Right.
called The Secret, and if you focus on what it is that you want, like a genie in the bottle, it's going to come to you. Well, The Secret, unfortunately, it created a lot of buzz around the law of attraction. But it also created some misunderstanding on what law of attraction is and how it actually works, because it missed a very important step, and that is the step of responsibility. That is the step of being in alignment, and that is the step also of being very, very clear that when we hold the mirror up, we have to take responsibility for ourselves and then take inspired action to move forward.
Right.
So, if you're miserable, you got to take a really good look at how much responsibility you have in regards to that.
Right.
Because you're the only one who has control. You
Right.
give control to other people.
Okay, so
if
slow.
you own your own control,
Well,
then you can create what you want.
right. So you're absolutely right, but let's back up a couple steps, because you said something very profound. So
Okay.
responsibility and accountability for whatever state of mind that we are in and that we bring out to other people. So
Correct.
Staying present, and I've been working on this, I wish it was my whole life, or Shedding the Corporate Bitch wouldn't be around. But at least in the last, 6 or 7 years, I really try to focus on being present, being in this very moment, not like gazing out and all of a sudden, kind of going off in never world. Do you have a tip or a piece of advice before we move on as to how to do that first? And then, what that means when it comes to either attracting or repelling?
Yes. However, I have to address what you just said.
Okay.
Sometimes it's okay to go and daydream and go out into the never world, because it's there that we can get our juicy nuggets.
True.
It's not always a bad thing
Right.
to go there. The key is to come back to groundedness, to come back to center. Because sometimes when we do go off into la land, it's like our brain is on overload, and we have to do that.
Right. Well, I'm more so
to-
talking, though, Terry, I'm more so talking about not doing it when you're, for instance, when we're engaged in this conversation, or when we're out and we're involved at work, or when we're in a relationship,
Right.
to make sure that we're just forcing ourselves to stay present as much as possible.
Bingo. And there's a time and a place for everything. And in this conversation, you're absolutely right. So how do we stay grounded in this conversation? Like, I'm seated at my desk chair. The first thing to note is that be aware of the chair that I'm sitting on. Okay, be aware of the clothes that you're wearing. Get into your chest. Get into your body. Really, and one of the biggest techniques that I teach is for people to put their hand over their heart and breathe in and out of their heart and be very aware, just aware of their body. And take a good look while in their body at their office, the walls, the colors of the walls. Really know. You know how many people walk in and you ask them, what's the color of your office? I have no clue.
That's a good point.
Okay.
That's a good point.
So it's about getting out of our heads and connected with our hearts.
Yeah.
And there's so much scientific evidence that shows that when we do something as simple as putting our hand over our heart and we breathe deeply into our chest, first of all, what that action does is it oxygenates the body. Secondly, it grounds you so that you're focused on what's going on in front of you. You're actually reducing cortisol levels, which is the stress hormone, and you're increasing the DHEA level, which is the good hormone.
Yep.
And your focus and intention can be very clear. This also leads you to stepping into the zone.
Right.
Athletes know what I'm talking about when I say get into the zone. Because when you're in the zone, things become effortless.
Yeah.
And being in the zone is about being fully present into the I am.
Right.
And being aware of everything that is around you. When we live in our heads, because we're so busy thinking,
Yeah.
we lose sight of a lot of information that is actually being generated around us.
Oh,
So
okay.
when we shift into our hearts and breathe,
Right.
and we engage that brain with that heart, we create coherence in our bodies.
Okay, so I want everybody out there listening to this live, or if you've just taken us along with you, which we love you for that, to actually stop and do exactly what Terry's suggesting, is put your hand over your heart, take a deep breath, and just kind of become aware of where you are and what you're doing and what your emotions and your feelings and your thoughts are. And, take those deep breaths to kind of center yourself. Now, beyond that, though, Terry, what is the next thing when I talk to people about staying present and being present, and I find this being an internal struggle for myself. I have sort of ADD on the brain sometimes. But what is the next step that somebody could be taking to ensure that when it comes to their relationships or when it comes to collaborating with a group of people at work or at home, whatever the case might be, what can they do to kind of wake themselves up and make sure that they are brought back to the present?
Well, first of all, I empathize with what you're talking about, with the ADD, and we're going around 20 million different directions. That tends to be a type A personality, which you and I both are. Okay?
Yes.
Bottom line, Bernadette, bottom line, it's practice.
Yeah, good point.
What I just taught you.
Yep, absolutely.
I've been doing this now since 2001, after my last burnout. And to this day, 15 years later, I still have to practice the technique I just shared with you. It's so simple, it's hard.
Yeah.
And that is when I'm interacting with someone, especially if I'm giving a proposal or if I'm coaching someone, and that is staying in my body. That really is what it is.
Right.
And being able to breathe.
Right.
Even if it means possibly using a pen or something that you can, that when you look at that pen, it triggers you to breathe into your chest. Okay. That breathing piece is the most powerful tool in your toolkit to help you get into your body. With each breath that you take, it's about releasing anxiety and releasing tension in your body.
Yeah.
So when you're breathing and you're that tuned in, tapped in, turned on, you listen with your eyes. What is the body language that people are using?
Right.
You listen with your ears. Really hear the words that are being said. And breathing into this body allows you to tap into that intuitive state, that intuitive place, your internal guidance system, your IGS, as I call it. okay?
Right.
You tap into that, and it's all triggered by breathing.
Well, okay, everyone, then
That's simple.
learn how to breathe differently, everybody. As opposed to just taking that for granted, stay conscious of it.
Yes.
And like she said, stay conscious of it and just breathe. Now, before we move on in our conversation, I want to remind everybody of how you can learn more about Terry and how you stay in touch with her and engage with her, and also with the Shedding the Bitch community. So for Terry, make sure you go to Attractpreneur is her Twitter handle. Attractpreneur, and you'll find her. Or even Google Terry Wildeman. She's everywhere. So her presence and her brand, she's done a great job in branding herself, is everywhere. So you won't have a hard time finding her. Go to awakenpossibilities.com. Check out her website, check out her services, check out what it is that she stands for and what she does, and also the amazing results and the amazing impact that she's had on her clients, individually or companies. Then check her out also on Facebook, Awaken Possibilities. She makes it really easy for you. So Awaken Possibilities or Attractpreneur, and you're going to follow, and really engage with her, and you're not going to be disappointed, especially when it comes to just how she provides techniques and tips and advice, and maybe, just like me, some tough love every once in a while. Every once in a while, we need to slap, we need to be slapped silly. So stay in touch with her. Stay in touch with her. All right. So take us to the next step then in regards to your work and kind of your methodology for coaching and helping your clients when it comes to attracting toward them what they want.
Okay. Well, there's 3 steps to law of attraction. Okay. And those 3 steps are to identify your desire. A lot of folks don't know what their desire is, especially entrepreneurs. One of the things that I have found in my coaching practice is I have a lot of entrepreneurs who went into business for all the wrong reasons. They went into business because they thought they should, or this was a good idea. So in identifying your desire, it's like, why are you going into business? Why are you in business? And it's amazing to me how they're unclear on who their ideal client is. There's a lack of passion around the product or service that they're offering, and it's not fun.
Right.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
Oh, I did.
It happens all the time.
It does. Absolutely.
It really does.
All right. So
what happens there then is there's an inauthenticity in running your business because you don't even like your business.
Right. So if I can share with the listeners, and then Terry can kind of maybe use it to kind of help anyone else that's dealing with the same thing very quickly. My own story I shared with Terry the other day was when I first left corporate and I went out as a consultant and as a coach. That's what I had been doing for 25 years. I branded myself as the Boas Group. I thought I would be very polished, very formal, all buttoned up. All my graphics were gorgeous. I spent like $5,000 in my first 3 months to really make everything look the part. And yet, over the next year to 15 months, I felt so out of alignment, so uncaring and dispassionate about not the work that I was doing, but more so how I was presenting that work and how I was kind of pitching myself. So that's pretty much what you're talking about, Terry, right?
Exactly. Because you're not in alignment. Law of attraction is all about the match. The match.
Can you find me my match?
In your mind and in your heart, you're thinking, this is what I want. But your heart is saying, no, you don't.
Right.
You're out of alignment, so it's impossible for you to attract what it is that you really want.
Yeah.
Okay. So step number 1 is identify your desire. Step number 2 is give your desire attention. How can you give your desire attention if you're out of alignment?
Right.
Okay. It's really hard to do that. And then step number 3 is allowing. And when you allow, it's about getting out of the way. However, taking inspired action, intuitive action, when those hits come. So it isn't just about sitting there and saying, okay, send it to me. It doesn't work that way. It's about taking inspired action and allowing
Right.
That's when you know that there's a match.
Yeah. No, that's
That's when you know that there's a match.
and that is very true. And when we come back, I really want to dig into the allow piece of that whole 3 steps, because I think where women get stuck is that they don't allow themselves to really receive and let the universe do what they want to do in order to give you complete abundance in your career and your life. So when we come back,
And
Terry's
that's huge.
yeah, it is. It is. So when we come back, Terry's going to dive into that a little bit more, and we're going to make sure that by the time we're done this program today, you're going to have some great tips and advice for you to have automatic impact as soon as you choose to allow. We'll be right back.
You are listening to Shedding the Bitch Radio with Bernadette Boas. Be sure to check out her book, Shedding the Corporate Bitch, Shifting from Bitch to Rich in Life and Business. Available on Amazon or sheddingthebitch.com. We also want to thank our sponsor, tsrtax.com, who offers a broad range of tax services for small to corporate size clients. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, everyone. This is indeed Bernadette Boas on Shedding the Bitch Radio. And I want to remind everybody, 1-818-572-2910. You can always call in and chat with us. Go to Facebook onto our Shedding the Bitch page, and you'll be able to put out a question, a comment, maybe tell us your story. And Deborah is out there waiting and watching for you, as well as tweeting out to you to make sure that you get any information that you need while the program's going live, or if you want to come back at a later time and go down to our Shedding the Bitch Twitter page, and you'll find all kinds of great output from the program. And of course, I had mentioned at the top of the hour, my studio is full of video producers, and it's Telltale Pictures who is here videotaping today. So we're going to also get this up on our Shedding the Bitch YouTube channel for all of you who would rather see my lovely face along with the audio that you could take with us. So I am talking to Terry Wildeman. She is the attractionpreneur, and she's helping you really understand the concepts of law of attraction in order for you to apply it immediately. I mean, you could, sit here right now, and with even the tips she's already provided us in regards to really kind of breathing and owning your space and your presence right now. You can do that as we're talking. But we're going to actually dive in. Terry, I want us to dive in to really understanding and providing women, our listeners, these tips around allowing. So first, explain more, if you could, about allowing you to receive and let the universe do its job. And then what are some tips to help women ensure that they are allowing?
Brilliant, thank you. Okay. Our universe is made up of opposites. You have light, you have dark, right?
Okay.
Okay. You give, you receive. If you are a constant giver and give and give and give and give, and you don't allow yourself to receive, you're out of alignment. Receiving is part of the equation, absolute part of the results that you are putting out there. If you believe that you're not good enough, if you believe that all you can do is give, and make everybody else happy at your expense, you're out of alignment.
Right.
When I was a kid in high school, I remember, I will never forget this as long as I live. I was, you know how we are as kids. You want everybody to like you, right? So my way of getting people to like me was I gave, and helped. I didn't give very much of that back. And I will never forget the one day when a friend of mine came up to me and she said, well, the friends are out over on the soccer field, and they were talking about this, whatever it was, and she said, oh, give it to Terry, she'll do it for, she'll do it. And she said, I thought you needed to know that, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. Because what I realized is I was giving so much, not getting any of it back,
Right.
out of lack inside of me.
So
It was huge learning.
Well, so for our listeners out there, there's a lot of women listening to this program, and I am one of them, that, really believes that, if I give, then I will receive, but I don't necessarily need to be, totally aware of that or open to it. It'll just happen. But yet we also feel insecure or feel like we're not worthy or not deserving of that receiving or allowing. So how can you help us kind of trigger that that's what our bitch is, as we say in this world of shedding the bitch? How can we kind of get this trigger that says, yes, that's my issue, that's my concern? Because it took me many years to figure that out, to be my own bitch and my own limitation.
Right. And it is a lifelong process. We are all, I like to say that we're all onions. We're constantly peeling the layers off to get to the core. And it's never going to happen. We're never going to get to the core. However, we take off the big parts, and in this lifetime, we start to live better and better as we take off the layers that aren't working for us anymore.
Right.
And what I use to help myself heal, and this has actually been over the last 20 years, and I think you and I had talked about this, I was very, very ill until the age of 39.
Right, yes.
Okay, so my world was always about giving and giving and giving and giving, and receiving was really hard for me, always very, very hard for me. And finally my doctor said to me 20 years ago, he said, Terry, there's nothing in Western medicine that can stop this from happening. It was my 7th surgery. I was in a deep depression.
Wow.
And I had told him that I had learned about some Eastern medicine modality. And he said, go for it. Learn it. There's nothing in Western medicine that can help you right now. And that started my holistic work. And I took off like wildfire. And that's what really led me to become a Reiki master, to get certified in heart math, become a certified coach, executive coach, coactive coach, and on and on and on and on and on. I'm an EFT practitioner, NLP practitioner. And all of those modalities, I learned all of that stuff to help me heal. Not heal anybody else, for me, because we can't heal anybody else. All we can do is offer them the tools, the guidance, and be the mirror for them.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
And so all of the energy psychology tools that I use for myself to heal is what I use with my clients. And sometimes we need to do that work in order to be able to learn how to receive, because it's so deeply ingrained inside of us.
Right. So for those people, though, that are stubborn, so I want to get down to like,
there's a lot of them.
Yes, there is. And I want to get down to like a nit, because there's so many women out there that they kind of know that there's something off, that there's something kind of not in alignment, incongruent, whatever the case might be. And yes, they're dealing with a lot of fear in regards to facing that and confronting that. I mean, I know that for myself. So what's a trigger? What do you recognize in somebody, or what do you say, or what can you do to kind of get somebody to shift and recognize the fact that, yes, I'm feeling unhappy and I'm feeling out of alignment with who I really am and what I really want, but I'm just not sure how to take that next step.
Okay. Well, first of all, I burned out 6 times, so I know those triggers very, very well. Okay. And when you burn out 6 times, what I will share with you is, when you burn out like that, you lose not only your health, which I lost dramatically, way too many times. I lost my health. My family saw me curled up on the couch, and I lost my businesses. Okay? When you are constantly saying, I'm stressed, I'm stressed, I'm stressed, I'm stressed, I don't have enough time, I don't have enough time, there's got to be a better way, there's got to be a better way. And you are constantly finding yourself to be unhappy.
Right.
Constantly unhappy. And you're always saying, I gotta, have to. Go. And you find yourself being judgmental and pessimistic. Ladies and gentlemen, you are taking yourself down the path of burnout.
Yeah. Or if you're like me and you're standing in the middle of a parking lot at the airport thinking you're having a heart attack because you can't find your car and you just are absolutely breaking down, not only in tears, but also just, oh my gosh, I thought I was having a heart attack. And then
Exactly.
that
well,
kind of,
anxiety attacks, and
yeah.
that's all part of the burnout.
Yeah. Jeez.
That's all part of the burnout. That's one of the symptoms.
So does somebody have to burn out?
Thinking.
So does somebody have to burn out in order to? How do we catch them before they burn out? What do we do? What do we tell them? What do we, what can we do, Terry?
It's a very powerful word, Bernadette, and the word that you said was stubborn. What I'll share
That's because
with
I am.
you is the folks who end up coming to me, they are moments from burnout because they didn't know what else to do. They thought they could do it by themselves.
Yeah. That's
Okay?
yeah.
And sometimes we are so stubborn that I'm fine, I'm strong, I'm fine. Oh God, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
And the moment you hear yourself saying that, that's when you say, universe, please send me somebody to work with me. Please send me the help that I need. And unfortunately, a lot of folks need to hit ground, need to hit the floor before they're willing to take a good look at themselves.
Right. That is true. And what's that saying about when the student is ready, the teacher will come? Or will
exactly.
When you're ready.
When
you're ready.
The teacher will come.
Right.
And,
Right.
I wrote an article on LinkedIn called The Work-Life Balance Myth.
Okay.
And it's all about understanding that there is no such thing as work-life balance.
Yes.
It is a myth.
Right. Okay, but before you go there, I want to take a commercial break because I want to really get into this segment.
Okay.
But I also want to mention to everybody, check out awakenpossibilities.com and check out her program. She has this great online program, so you have no excuses. You don't have to go to a classroom. It's online. It includes 4 videos. It includes 2 weeks of Terry in a community that you can kind of go directly to her within her community. And then she also is including 2 ebooks for you. One's about networking, the networking alchemy, and the other one is the language of positivity. And all of this is just $497. So I want you to just go out to Awaken Possibilities, learn more about Terry, but also about her program, because you could start today shifting and really attracting what it is that you want in your life. All right, we're going to be right back, and we're going to talk about getting more into this whole conversation with Terry Wildeman, the attractionpreneur.
You are listening to Shedding the Bitch Radio with Bernadette Boas. Be sure to check out her book, Shedding the Corporate Bitch, Shifting from Bitch to Rich in Life and Business, available on Amazon or sheddingthebitch.com. We also want to thank our sponsor, tsrtax.com, who offers a broad range of tax services for small to corporate size clients. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Bernadette Boas. You're listening to Shedding the Bitch Radio, and I'm talking to the guru attractionpreneur, Terry Wildeman. All right, Terry, you were espousing great wisdom onto us before we went on commercial break. And I want you to get down and dirty in this conversation to provide some great tips and advice to our listeners about how they could be attracting what it is that they want in their world. So I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, so in the last segment I was talking about work-life balance. Okay, there is no such thing about work-life balance.
Amen, sister. Amen.
Look at the stress that we put ourselves under. Going for work-life balance. Do you know anybody who's achieved it?
No. And I'm pretty good. And I'm pretty good balancing. Integration, maybe, but not balancing.
And I know a lot of people.
Right.
I don't know anybody who's achieved it.
Right.
However, what there is work-life harmony, which is different. Because if you can imagine a balance, okay, a balance, when it's in balance, it's stationary, it's still.
Mm-hmm.
That's not reality. And that's what we're striving for? I don't think so. But if you strive for work-life harmony, the balance then goes between the 5 pillars of life as it needs it. And the 5 pillars of life are wealth, health, relationships, career, and financial and spirituality. Okay?
Right.
So if you imagine the balance being able to tip as it needs to between those 5 pillars, then you're cooking in terms of going with work-life harmony. Now, I'm going to give you a mathematical equation.
Oh, geez. I'm getting my pen out. Hold on.
This will be easy.
Okay.
A mathematical equation.
You're assuming a lot.
About results. So A plus B plus C plus D equals E. Okay, so box number one is your perception. Your perception of the events that are around you create what is in box number two, which are your words. Your words then are either positive or negative. I'm going to pull those words out and I'm going to throw them in box number three. Box number three are thoughts that are created by the words, either positive or negative, that are in box number two. So, box number three are thoughts. Those thoughts that are either positive or negative, that are created by the words that are in box number two and the perception in box number one.
Right.
Then create what is in box number four, which are your vibrations. Okay, those vibes are either positive or negative. And those vibes are created by the thoughts that are in box number three, and those are created by the words that are in box number two that are created by the perceptions in box number one. So your words create your perceptions create your words create your thoughts create your vibes. And those vibes then create your results.
And not everybody has good vibrations.
Mathematical equation.
Yes. I'm not sure. Yep.
So when you combine that with the 3 steps of law of attraction, identify your desire, give your desire attention, and allowing, okay, you have a very powerful blueprint to assist you in how you want to present yourself in the world. Okay?
Sweet.
So if the perception that you have of an event is negative, the words are going to be negative, the thoughts are going to be negative, the vibes are going to be negative, thus the results are going to be negative.
Yes. Hey, you can't make it any more simpler than that. I hope everyone had a pen and paper because I was scribbling very quickly. But you can also replay this, everybody. You know that. You can download it and take it with you and then replay it and take your notes because that method right there, that equation as she calls it, although ABC and an equation doesn't fly with me, but that's okay. It is an equation, I guess. I was never good at math.
A plus B plus C plus D equals E.
Exactly. And then tie that with your 3 steps of the law of attraction, and you have a formula, people. You have a formula for success and for attracting whatever it is that you want out of life. So we have a couple minutes left. I want you to be sure to give us the wow. What is the wow all around being an attractionpreneur? How can they do it? What is the first step after today's program that they could be doing other than calling you, going to awakeningpossibilities.com, following you on Twitter at attractpreneur? What can they be?
Attractionpreneur. Right. And by the way, I want to be clear too that the website that's got that program that you were talking about,
right,
is the website name is attractionprocess.com.
Oh, I'm so sorry. All right, I'm glad you explained
that. That's just for the program.
Okay.
That's just for the program that you decide.
Okay.
That you described it. Attractionprocess.com.
Great. All right. Thank you for that.
Thank you. So the best thing, the number one step, every single day, every single moment, is to begin to appreciate every single thing that is in front of you. Even the stuff that is negative, what can you appreciate with it?
Right.
From it. Appreciation and gratitude are the highest vibrational emotions that one can have, next to love. And for every bad thing that happens, something good comes out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can take a moment to step back and shift out of the negativity and look at the positivity, look at what's right with your world instead of what's wrong with your world, that is going to be the beginning of you shifting.
Okay, so practically, Terry, do you have your clients, do you ask people to write those things down? It's one thing to think about appreciation. It's another thing to really recognize what you're appreciative or grateful for in black and white.
We do it 2 ways. The first thing I ask them to do is to go, as they move through their day,
right,
to put on a new pair of glasses. I like to say rose-colored glasses. Put on a pair of rose-colored glasses, and everything that you've complained about, write something or think of something positive about it.
Okay. All right.
Okay? Like, for example, I recently had somebody say, it drives me crazy when I see dirt on the floor. Put on the rose-colored glasses. What is it that you see? oh, there's dirt on the floor, which means I have a home. And a lot of people don't. Thank you.
Yeah. Very true. Very good point.
Okay, something
Okay.
as simple as that.
Okay.
So people say, oh, well, that's so fluffy. Well, guess what? It's the fluffy stuff that increases the DHEA in your body and gets you healthy.
Right. Well, and to your point about fluffy, that's why I'm also trying to take these things about like considering and thinking about your things that you're appreciative of and kind of making it practical as far as how do you do that and make it turn into something that's a actual tool that you could be using.
Yeah, well, the actual tool is learning how to step into gratitude and appreciation for everything.
Right. Yeah, true.
Literally everything.
Yeah.
That's step number one.
Okay.
Step number two, if you're an entrepreneur, get clear that the business that you're in is something that you're passionate about. If you're not passionate about, what do you need to do to make yourself passionate about?
Yeah.
And if you can't get to that place, then you have to rethink about being in that business.
Right. Well, and I want to touch on too that yes, for your career too, because that goes to corporate individuals or people that have jobs. They need to kind of consider whether or not they're in the right job or at the right company.
That's exactly right.
Right.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Step number 3 is to really love yourself. Love yourself.
Give yourself a big hug.
Write down all the wonderful things that you do. Write down, loving yourself is so important. People say, well, that's stupid. Oh, absolutely not. The more you love yourself as a human being, and I'm not talking about going to this diva better than thou place. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about looking at the talents, looking at what you do, really loving yourself for who you are.
Yeah.
And then step number 4 is to receive the good things in life. And realize that when you take care of yourself, you are actually receiving and you are there for other people. It's just like the flight attendant in the airplane. It tells you to put the oxygen mask on yourself first. You must give yourself oxygen before you can be there to take care of other people. Right.
No, it's so true. And that's why everybody, that last part about receiving, those first 3 are important too. But that last about receiving, women, you have to learn how to allow, as she talked about earlier, and receive. It's just your birthright to receive everything that the universe has to offer you, but you have to be open and allow it to come your way. And it can be overwhelming. Trust me, it can be overwhelming when all of a sudden you're getting, people kind of flourishing and kind of showering you with their support and gratitude and gifts. But yet, step back, take a deep breath as Terry recommended, put your hand over your heart, breathe, and receive. Well, Terry, I am so excited and grateful that you joined the Shedding the Bitch community today and shared with us everything about how we can attract as opposed to repel. So we won't even consider that anymore, everybody, because we want to be attracting those things in our life that we want. But I want to thank you for joining us. It was great having you.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure being here, and I love being in your energy.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. Now, I know you also have a Google Hangout coming up at 1 p.m. Eastern time, correct?
And that's right. In 10 minutes, we have a Google Hangout. I will be interviewing the amazing Ingrid Dittner. She will be sharing with us how she healed herself from cancer. She is an attractionpreneur herself, an amazing entrepreneur.
Fabulous.
EFT practitioner who also works with the military folks and with helping them with PTSD.
Sweet.
And using EFT and other modalities, she literally healed herself from breast cancer.
Well, go and look up. Now, where can people go and find out information regarding that program? That starts in 10 minutes, everybody.
My Facebook page, if you go to Awaken Possibilities, the link is on there.
Right. And I want to remind everybody.
Hangout.
Yes, it is a Google Hangout. And I want to remind everyone we are broadcasting and videotaping this live, and obviously you're listening to it. But if you're taking us on the road with you and you've missed any part of either Terry's program today at 1 Live or our live program, you can always go back and find out information about future shows, future episodes, all that kind of good stuff. So just because you're taking us with you on the road, you won't miss out, okay? Well, Terry, thank you so much. I appreciate you being on the program today, and I look forward to catching up with you online especially.
Absolutely. You take care, Bernadette, and again, thank you very much, and to your audience.
Oh, you are very, very welcome. I appreciate it. Well, everyone, I don't know about you, but I certainly took away some practical tips and techniques that you could be using immediately in order to have an immediate shift in your life. And I would strongly recommend, even if it's notating that breathing, holding your hand over your heart, breathing and centering, really focusing on being present, whether that's you individually, wherever you are, or when you're in a conversation or some sort of group. You want to always just really appreciate that second or that hour that you are living at that very moment in time, because you don't want to kind of walk through life and not be conscious of what the world has to offer you. And then again, I want to stress to all the women out there to take down and re-listen to this program and take down Terry's tips, especially when it comes to allowing and receiving. Allow and receive in the universe. You'll be amazed at what the universe will bring to you. All right. Now we have the rest of the month is all focused on continuing on personal branding, personal style. Jennifer Lund is going to call in from Australia next week, and she's going to talk to you about how you can continue to work on becoming congruent and in alignment with yourself in order for you then to define what your personal brand and style is. And then as we go forward, Lee Hayward and Meredith Lapel will also talk about, all right, so what does that look like physically? The way you dress, the way you go out in the world, the way you appear to individuals, the way you sit in a meeting, the way you go about your life, making sure that who you are is naturally coming across in your style and your brand, whether that's personally or professionally. All right. So what other announcements before we let you go? Come right back here next Tuesday, noon Eastern time, for another great episode of Shedding the Bitch. And I appreciate you joining us today. Have a very rich and prosperous week, everybody.
Thank you for listening to Shedding the Bitch Radio with Bernadette Boas. Join Bernadette every Tuesday at noon Eastern as she helps you shift your bitches to riches. And the dialogue is always going on at sheddingthebitch.com. See you next week.